Welcome back to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have Dr. Quinton Hennigh with me once again. Today, he will give us an update on this year's exploration program for Eskay mining. It's a very large-scale project, I should say, and very exciting news coming on the heels of last year's results. They are onto a precious metals-rich VMS project. Again, I'm very excited about it as a shareholder, and it's a company I cover in my newsletter as well. Eskay Mining trades in Canada under the symbol ESK. You buy it in the U.S., as I have, under ESKYF. My latest reading that I have is 162.2 million shares at $2.45 Canadian earlier today when I checked it, giving a market cap just a whisker under 400 million in Canadian money. Thanks for joining me again, Quinton.
Always a pleasure, Jay.
Always great to have you with us. With your success stories that you are building quite a portfolio of, I must say, and this is a company that you are an advisor, a technical advisor to. Last year was the maiden drill program for Eskay Mining on its massive 100% owned, I think it's something like 52,000 hectares. It's a very large holding for sure. And it's really, you came up with some very exciting results last year on this VMS project. Talk to us a little bit, for the sake of those that may not be familiar with the story. What did you discover last year, and how does that set things up for this year?
Yeah, look, last year was, in spite of COVID, was very exciting. We generated some phenomenal drill results late in the year. Or I should say we drilled the holes late in the year. We got the assays back. I think the first batch came back in December, and the second batch was earlier this year. But 18 of 20 holes hit significant gold mineralization. We'll call it, likely, potentially economic mineralization. And they're very, very close to, say, the numbers that would be put out by Skeena, for example, which is drilling similar system next door. All right, now, the two targets that we drilled last year, TB and Jeff, are a fair ways from Skeena. They're about 13 kilometers to the southeast, and they are within our 526 square kilometer, 100% controlled land package. To put it in context, what are these? Well, they're basically precious metal-rich VMS deposits. Okay, these are massive sulfide deposits, black smoker-type deposits that formed on the seafloor many eons ago, and have been abducted, basically pushed up onto the craton, onto the continent. And now we can explore these things. What was on the seafloor is now sitting high in the mountain in British Columbia. But they are absolutely wonderful deposits, and they tend to occur in clusters. If you look at VMS around the world, almost all VMS deposits occur in districts or camps in which there's multiple deposits. They usually display a spectrum in size, from anywhere from a few 100,000 tons up to, in some cases, 100 million tons or more of sulfide mineralization. Now, Eskay Creek, everybody who's in mining knows something about Eskay Creek. It was the highest grade gold deposit on planet Earth while in operation for about 15 years or so. It had a head grade, 42 grams per ton of gold, but it also had 2.1 kilograms of silver per ton. All right, and Eskay Creek kind of sits by itself. Everybody scratched their head and wondered, well, where on earth could the rest of, is there anything else out there? Is it just truly a one-off? Well, I think the discoveries that we're making on Eskay Mining's ground is now showing that this thing is likely going to deliver multiple high grade intercepts. So we're ecstatic. The Jeff results that we announced in February, we had a long interval. I think it was 30 odd meters of over 10 gram per ton gold equivalent in that one hole. And what are we doing? We're going right back in and drilling in that TB Jeff area right now. Like the first target we have is to really be aggressive at extending out those systems.
Mm-hmm. And so, can you talk about this year's drill program? How much drilling are you going to do? What's the cost? I guess you're getting started now. You're setting up your drill program now. If the drills haven't started to turn, they will shortly. Talk to us about the objectives of this year's program and what you hope to achieve there.
Certainly. Look, we're going to drill minimum 30,000 meters. We got 4 diamond core rigs. 2 of those rigs are going to be dedicated to each of the TV and Jeff targets. The other 2 rigs will do systematic testing of numerous other targets. Okay, so we have, it's not just about stepping out, really. It's about making additional discovery. We did put out a news release yesterday that announced the start of drilling, so the program is underway. Full team is on site. We have been doing a geophysical survey as well. It's called Sky TEM. It's basically an electromagnetic survey that looks at property of rock in the ground, and in particular, it's looking for areas of conductive versus resistive rock. What we can see with that survey is the stratigraphy, and we know that there's certain host stratigraphy, layers of rock. We'll call it that host is VMS mineralization. So we aim to use the SkyTEM data to give us a good handle on additional targets that we can drill this season. We have just an all-out program this year, a very robust drill program, 30,000 meter minimum. And I think by the end of this season, we'll see TV and Jeff probably grow dramatically in size, perhaps even connect. But then we'll also likely have additional discoveries.
How close are the TV and Jeff discoveries?
They're a little over 2 kilometers apart.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to say connect, given their size, each respective size, I would say there's at least 3 kilometers of mineralized area in that. But it gets better. Like if you look at the SkyTEM to the north and to the south from TV Jeff, the system clearly continues. Like there's going to be likely be sulfide discovery, along at least a 7-kilometer corridor that we've done survey. Now, the new survey is going to extend that area further. Okay, so we're taking the survey clear back up to the Eskay mine area, and then we're taking it to the south as well, down into the area where we produced some just phenomenal stream sediment anomalies late last year. So we're going to see, we'll basically be able to see the whole enchilada here soon.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the company's presentation, and Eskay Creek, I think you said about 13 kilometers, if I remember what you said a moment ago, from the Jeff and the TV. But then there's the Sib and Lulu, and just looking at your presentation, there's some historic drill results there, I think, in that area. 14.4 grams of gold, 1,060 grams of silver over 14.3 meters, 10.8 grams of gold and 766 grams of silver, 24.8 meters, 2.13 grams of gold, 4 grams of silver over 25 meters. So, I mean, that's, I think, up in the Sib and Lulu areas, which is between the Jeff and TV and just south of, I suppose, that maybe, 6-7 kilometers south of Eskay Creek?
That's right. In fact, that area that you're talking about, Sib Lulu, is on the same strike, the same rock units that Eskay Creek is, on the west side of the Eskay anticline. So an anticline is simply a term for an upfolded sequence of rock. Think of a wrinkle in a carpet. It form a nice linear, upwarp. Mm-hmm. And in this case, there's 2 sides to the upwarp. Okay, so the west side, which hosts the Eskay Creek mine, but also that mineralization continues down to our Sib Lulu target. That is one side of the anticline. And yes, Skeena has drilled basically right down to our fence line. So we know that we have very good potential to bridge that gap, basically bridge Sib Lulu in with the rest of the Skeena system. But then the TB Jeff, Jay, is on the east side of the anticline. So we are focusing a lot of our attention to the east side of the anticline, given these very robust results that we have. I think that the east side of the anticline is perhaps just as prospective, if not more prospective. Mm-hmm. And I think here soon we'll be able to talk more about that once all this SkyTEM data comes back. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And I'm just wondering, are you going to be poking some holes in the Sib Lulu though this year? Any chance of it?
Yep, that's one of a long list of targets that we have. We are doing additional geophysics to really flesh that out. Like that SkyTEM we did last year did not fully cover the Sib Lulu area. So We're actually collecting that data right now to help us better target our drill program at that location. But it is one of many. I want to emphasize that. We have many, many targets that we're going to test this year.
Indeed, you do. And I'm looking at page 24 of the presentation, and I'm seeing it's showing these district scale structural geology. It shows all these anticline structures, and it goes all the way to the southern end of the property where you have things like TET and C10 and CFJ and a whole host of different targets that you have in sight. So I guess, though, the main focus of most of the drilling will be up at Jeff and TV, though, in an attempt to expand that. Is that right?
I would say, TV and Jeff definitely important for us, but like I said, two rigs are going to be testing other targets. And the area that you mentioned there, the one in the south along the Eskay anticline at the extreme southern end of the property, that delivered some phenomenal stream sediment results last year. So that we know there's a really good, really strong gold, arsenic, antimony, mercury, et cetera, like classic Eskay type Bleg anomaly, what we call Bleg anomaly in that area. And it's big. I think there's at least 6 kilometers of strike that is the drainages are shedding very high levels of those elements. But like you said a minute ago, there's other anticlines. We actually see 3 anticlines that cross the property. They all trend more or less north-south. And the 3 anticlines, it's kind of like having, like I said earlier, like 3 wrinkles in the carpet, okay, side by side. So we have basically 3 corridors, and on each wrinkle, we've got an east and a west limb to explore. So one of the really intriguing areas that popped out last year in our stream sediment sampling was on the eastern anticline. We actually found a very high stream sediment anomaly at the north end of that anticline in a position, we'll say, that's mirrors what you see at the Eskay anticline further west. Okay, so we see just a screaming Bleg anomaly at the north end of the eastern anticline. That one really intrigues us, and that's part of the reason we decided to be aggressive with our SkyTemp program. Is we wanted to see if the signature, there's a clear target, geophysical target underneath that Bleg anomaly, and I think that's going to be very exciting once we get our SkyTemp out in the market. I think once we've collected it and processed the whole thing and be able to tell this story, I think people will very quickly see that this bigger picture is very concrete, I'll say, and will likely deliver multiple discoveries. I got to be, somewhat cautious, but look, it's a matter of drilling. We have to drill these things, but I think we'll see a lot of really good targets. In short, that we're going to hit hard this year, and again, by the end of this year, we should have multiple discoveries across the board.
Forward-looking statement for sure, but nonetheless based on some early geological observations by yourself and your team there at the company. How many rigs then will be used? Will you have employed there this year? You said
4 rigs, 4 drills operating, and we can drill. Well, we've started drilling about 3 or 4 days ago. We will drill up through mid to late October. About 4 months, basically. And again, if the drills perform, like we hope, then we should get at least 7,500 meters per drill. But we might be able to get more. Like I could see potentially drilling 35 to 40,000 meters with a bit of luck, especially with weather. We need good luck with weather.
Yeah. How long can you go there generally? What do you expect normally?
Yeah, look, last year I think the last day of drilling was around October 16th or something. It really depends on sometimes it can start early, sometimes late. It's been a very warm year up there this year. It seems like all of the West Coast has been just absolutely bizarrely warm.
Yeah.
Even at Eskay, I think it was warmer there yesterday than it was here in Denver. So.
Oh, well, that's in a way that's good news. Global warming notwithstanding. But just how much money is the company well funded to finance this year's drill program?
Yes, it is. We raised money. We were aggressive late last year, and I wanted to see that happen because I wanted this drill program to happen. I didn't want to be last in the queue. I wanted to be first. So we raised about 13 or so million last November and added to the treasury we had. Brought us to 15. We still have, through some warrant exercises recently, I think we still have about 15 million in the bank. So we're well funded.
All right. Well, and turnaround time then, once you get the drilling, that's one of the issues with just a few seconds left, and maybe a quick comment on that.
Yeah, look, we don't know what to expect from labs this year. Obviously, there's a lot of companies with a lot of money, but I hope over the past 6 or 7 months that the labs has really, started to ramp up, and in anticipation of this season's exploration. I don't know what to expect quite yet, but we're going to do our best to make sure that we get reasonably fast turnaround.
All right, very good. We'll have to leave it go at that. Thank you so much, Quinton, for being with us again, explaining this very exciting program. We'll talk to you again soon about this one and some others that I know you are working on. So thanks again for being with us, Mr.